So in today's lecture, we are going to see one fuse unit that we have not covered in our last lecture. So we will see the first this fuse unit, and then we will move to the another chapter, that is 11th chapter. We will start with first KitKat type fuse unit. So we have already learned what is fuse, why it is used, and different types of fuses. So we know that there are rewirable fuse, right? That is rewirable fuse, and fuse which cannot be rewired, that is non-rewirable fuse. So this KitKat type fuse unit is rewirable. That means we don't have to remove all this fuse unit once the fuse element is gone or it is blown. What we have to do, we have to just remove this fuse bridge and we have to replace this fuse element. So as you can see, I will first show you so this is a KitKat type fuse unit. So here you can see this two parts. We have to just connect it like this in our circuit, and this is how it removes, right? So this is the base part. So this is our diagram. So here you can see this is the fuse bridge and this is the fuse base. So here, which is the base? This is the base, right? So this is the base, this is the base, and this is the fuse bridge. So just compare this two. So this is the fuse base, this is fuse element, this wire has to be connected here, and this is the fuse bridge. So this is called as KitKat fuse unit. So what we can do, it is rewirable. Once we can connect it to the circuit, and whenever there is overcurrent flowing, then what will happen? The wire here will melt, and whenever it melts, supply will not go further, right? Our circuit will get open circuit. Then what we have to do? We have to just remove this and we have to rewire it. So this is called as rewirable fuse unit. So this is KitKat type fuse unit. I hope the diagram is clear to you. So this fuse unit is also called as semi-enclosed type. Okay, why this is called as semi-enclosed type? Because this fuse unit is not completely enclosed. That means it is not completely closed also, or it is not completely in air also. So it is called semi-enclosed. Why we call it semi-enclosed? This fuse unit is neither kept in air completely nor it is completely enclosed. Okay, so we call this as semi-enclosed type. And the third point is we can use this in laboratory and household purposes. So what you have to write the points is, first point, our KitKat type fuse unit is rewirable. We can rewire it. So whenever this fuse element or this fuse wire will melt due to high current or heavy current flowing, what will happen? Due to that high current, overcurrent, this wire will melt, and due to this melting, our circuit will get open circuit, right? And due to that, we can remove this upper part, and we can rewire it. So it is called as rewirable type. Second point is it is semi-enclosed. This fuse unit is not kept completely in air nor it is completely enclosed. So it is called semi-enclosed type. Where we use it? We use this in house and laboratory purposes. So as we know, this can be rewired, right? We can rewire it. So without taking any safety precautions, it is very safe to remove this fuse bridge, right? So it is very easy to remove this fuse bridge without taking any safety precautions. So as I told you, this terminals will be energized, right? The phase wire will come here and the current will flow. So whenever this current will flow, when there is current flowing here, we can open this. We can open this fuse bridge, or we can take out this fuse bridge without any safety precautions. That means it is very safe to remove this. So this is fitted, that is fuse base is fitted on wooden blocks or boards. Wherever we want to use this fuse unit, it is fitted on the wooden blocks or on the boards. So we will see the connection or what are the different constructional details. So this is the first is fuse link. So first part is fuse link. Second is fuse carrier. and third part is fuse base. So what is fuse link? The part consists of fuse unit. So this is called as fuse link. So here we can attach the fuse wire, right, or fuse element. So fuse link is nothing but this part consists of fuse element. So where the fuse element is fitted, or the part which consists fuse element is called as fuse link. So this is our fuse element. Fuse carrier. This carries the fuse. So the name itself says fuse carrier. This carries the fuse. So it is called as fuse carrier. The part which carries the fuse is called as fuse carrier. Fuse base. So what is fuse base? It is part which carries the fixed contact terminals, right? So these are the fixed contact terminals and this fuse base. So I'll remove this. So this is the fuse base. This carries the fixed contacts. So these contacts are fixed, right? They are not movable. We can remove this part, but the base is fixed. It cannot move. So fuse base, it is fixed part. It is fixed part carrying fixed contact terminal. I hope you have clear all this: fuse link, fuse carrier and fuse base. So fuse base carriers are made of porcelain. So this fuse base, fuse carrier, this all you can see, this part, this fuse base and this, it is made of porcelain. That is, it is insulating material. Current will not flow from this. From this part current will not flow. Only through this metallic part the current will flow. So the all other part is made of porcelain. Porcelain, it is why it is used, because it is insulating part. So the current will not flow and we will be safe while using this fuse. And this contact terminal, so these terminals are made of bronze, right? So these terminals are made of bronze. So fuse carrier on which fuse link is kept can be taken out easily. So as I told you, this can be taken out easily. Fuse bridge. So this is the fuse bridge. This fuse carrier on which fuse link is kept. So here the fuse link is kept. Here the fuse wire is kept. We can remove it easily from the fixed contacts, or this fuse base we can remove it easily. To the base there are fixed contacts. So this is the base part of this fuse, and there are fixed contacts, and these contacts are connected to the wire from supply. So the supply, it will come here. It will come here to this point. The supply will come, and this we have to place it in this, and this supply will go further. So how our supply will come? It will come from here. It will come from here. It will go to this fixed terminal, and then it will go through that fuse wire, and then it will come here and it will go further, right? So whenever the high current will come, then what will happen? It will go in this fuse, and this fuse wire will melt, right? This fuse wire will melt, and our current will not go further. So no fuse element is kept in neutral wire. So as I told, here only phase is given, neutral is not given. So here whenever we insert this, then our circuit gets completed and current will flow further. So when we have to turn off, we have to just remove this fuse link or this fuse bridge. We have to remove from the base, and our circuit is open. So this is our supply. And here the fuse is there. So this is the fuse. So whenever we insert, so consider this is our fuse base. Okay. So this is our fuse base. Now we have to take this supply further, right? We have to take this supply here. So what we have to do? We have to insert this fuse bridge here. So what we are doing? We are connecting it with this, right? So our supply will go here. Otherwise it was like open circuit, right? There is no wire here. So how our current will go further? So this is when we have to turn on, we have to put this in this fuse base. So this is about the fuse, that is KitKat fuse. So this fuse units are rated as 5 ampere, 5, 15, 30 up to 300 amperes. So these are the ratings, and this is all about the KitKat fuse unit. So if they ask you to explain a rewirable fuse, then you can explain KitKat fuse. Just first explain what is rewirable and then explain all the further details. So rewirable, we have learned KitKat fuse, and round type fuse unit, it is also rewirable type. So this is about the KitKat fuse unit. Now we will see our new chapter, that is 11th chapter. The chapter that in that chapter we are going to learn about AC, that is alternating current. What? Alternating current. So what is alternating current and how it is generated, we are going to see it in today's lecture. So we will see that. So this is chapter number 11. So this is chapter 11, that is alternating current, AC. It is also called as AC, that is alternating current. So we will first understand what is the definition of alternating current, and then we will see what or how this is generated, that is how AC is generated. So definition of alternating current is when the current flowing in the circuit, varies, that means changes, it changes, varies magnitude as well as direction periodically, is called as alternating current. So this is the definition of alternating current. So what is alternating current? When the current flowing in the circuit, so the current which is flowing in the circuit, if that current varies, that means if it changes its magnitude, and magnitude means its strength, right? Its strength. Whenever the current flowing in the circuit, if it changes its magnitude as well as the direction, if it changes magnitude and direction periodically, what does it mean by periodically? After a certain time of period. Now consider after 2 seconds. So at every 2 seconds it will change its direction and magnitude. At every particular 2 seconds it will change. After 2 seconds it will change. So it is called as periodically. So what is the definition? When the current flowing in the circuit varies magnitude as well as direction periodically, is called as AC current. So what is the waveform of AC current? So this is the alternating current. Okay. So this is the alternating current. Now this is one cycle. Okay, so this is the one cycle. So this is one cycle. In that there are 2 half cycles, right? So what our definition say? Alternating current, the current flowing in circuit varies its magnitude as well as direction as periodically, is called as AC current. Now see here, in this half cycle it is positive, right? It is positive, and after certain time of period it will go to the negative, right? It will go to negative. So it is changing its direction and magnitude. So you can say it is increasing, it is going to the maximum value, and then it is decreasing. So here it is changing periodically. So after this period it goes to the negative part. For that same period only it goes to the negative, and then same period is measured or seen in the next half cycle also, right? So this is called as AC current. So it changes its magnitude as well as direction periodically. And what does it mean by DC? DC means it is direct current. It will not change its direction anywhere. So it is straight line. Okay, so this is about the DC and this is about the AC. So we are going to learn how this AC is generated. So for the generation, according to the Faraday's law, right? According to the Faraday's first law, we are going to see how this AC current is generated. So one person was trying to get current. He thought we will get the current through the magnet, right? So this is the magnet, north pole. This is the south pole. Okay. So now what he thought that we will make the current, we will generate the current from the magnet. So he took the magnet. Now this is our magnet, North Pole and South Pole. So what will be there? Here there will be magnetic field created, right? There will be magnetic field created. So what he did, he kept one conductor. So this is the coil. Okay, so he kept one conductor. Now after whenever he kept the conductor, there is nothing happening here. There is no current. So what he did, he just pulled it out. Then what he saw was the current was generated. That means whenever there was change or when there was movement in this conductor, there was current generated. How he got to know? Because there was galvanometer. When current flows, it deflects, right? So what he did, he thought it is not working. So he tried to take it out. But whenever he tried to move this conductor what happened? The galvanometer deflected. That means there was current. So what he understood, that whenever the conductor is moving in magnetic field, okay, whenever this conductor is moving in magnetic field, that means it must cut this magnetic flux. So these are the magnetic flux, right? So whenever the conductor cuts the magnetic flux, so to cut the magnetic flux, our conductor must be moving, right? So whenever the moving conductor is kept in magnetic field, what happens? EMF is induced, right? EMF is induced. That means current is induced. Okay, so this is about the Faraday's law. So it is very easy. There is nothing here. So what we have to just understand, whenever our conductor or coil is placed in the magnetic field, when our moving coil is placed in magnetic field, EMF is induced. So what is the main thing? The coil must be moving. Why it must be moving? To cut this magnetic flux, the coil must be moving. If this coil is constant, then we have to move this magnet. Okay, the one thing must be moving. It must be coil or the magnet. We must move one thing. So here we are keeping the magnet constant and we are moving the coil. We are rotating the coil, right? So here what is happening? Due to that rotation, our magnetic flux are cut. Due to this, EMF is induced in our coil. That means current is flowing through this coil. So this current is AC current. Okay, so this current is AC current. So how we are going to know that this is AC current? We will see it further. So first just understand according to Faraday's first law. So what is the Faraday's first law? Whenever magnetic flux is cut by conductor. So whenever these are the magnetic flux. So whenever magnetic flux is cut by conductor, moving conductor in magnetic field or moving magnetic field keeping conductor constant, right? One thing must be moving. It must be moving conductor or moving magnetic field. So here we are keeping the magnetic field constant and we are moving here our conductor. So what happens? EMF is induced in the conductor. So this is according to Faraday's first law. So this is Faraday's first law. I hope you have understood this. So there is nothing here. So what we are doing, we are taking one magnetic field, we are creating magnetic field, we are keeping here North Pole, here South Pole, and one conductor, that is coil, we have kept here. And now consider here are brushes and slip rings. Okay, here are brushes and slip rings, they are provided, and here we can connect the resistance or we can connect the bulb here. Okay, so whenever this will rotate, our bulb will glow. I will insert one video in your group, WhatsApp group, so just go through it, so you will quickly understand how it works. So this is magnets, these are constant, they are creating the magnetic field here, these are the flux. So this our conductor is moving, right? It is rotating. So due to this, what will happen? This flux are cutting, it is cutting this flux. So due to this, EMF is induced here, and due to this induced EMF, the current is flowing, so our bulb will glow. So this is according to Faraday's first law. So the induced EMF depends upon, that means the rate of how the flux are cutting, right? The flux, the magnitude of EMF induced. Here EMF is induced, right? EMF is induced. So this induced EMF, magnitude of induced EMF, that is strength of this induced EMF, depends upon the rate of cutting the flux. So the rate at which this conductor is cutting the flux, EMF will induced in that at that particular rate. So more the number of flux is cutting, more will be the induced EMF, right? So here it is directly proportional. That means more the moving, if we are moving very fast, this coil is moving fast, that means flux are cutting more, right? So this induced EMF will be more. So magnitude of induced EMF, induced EMF depends upon the rate of cutting the flux. So this is about the Faraday's first law. Okay, I hope you have understood this. There is nothing here. We have to just take magnet, create magnetic field, and in that magnetic field we have to move the conductor. Or what else we can do? We can keep this conductor constant and we have to move this magnetic field. Just we have to keep one constant and one we have to keep it moving. So in this case we are keeping this magnet constant and we are moving our conductor. And due to this motion, this flux are cutted by this conductor. And due to that, what happened? EMF is induced in this conductor. So this is about the Faraday's first law. So this is about the AC. This is how AC is generated. This current that is flowing is AC current. Okay. So this induced EMF is given by the formula BLV sine theta. Okay, BLV sine theta. Now this conductor is rotating in this magnetic field, right? So there will be some angle created. So this is the theta. Now B, what is B? B is nothing but flux density of magnetic field, that is strength of this magnetic field. Okay, so this B is nothing but strength of this magnetic field, that is flux density of this magnetic field. Now what is L? L is nothing but active length of each conductor, So this is our conductor. The active length of each conductor is nothing but the L. Now V, what is the V? V is velocity, that is linear velocity. That is speed, at how much speed we are rotating this conductor, right? If we rotate it fast, then our current will be more, or induced EMF will be more. So this is the formula, that is BLV sine theta. Now what we are going to learn is magnitude of induced EMF at different instants, right? So now this is our north pole, this is our south pole, this is north south, and these are the magnetic field created. Okay, now here this is our conductor, this is our conductor. So whenever this is our conductor, so in this position, that is our in first position, so what will happen? The conductor is vertical, right? This is the conductor is vertical, this is side A and this is side B. So our conductor is vertical, which moves parallel to the flux. So it is parallel to the flux, so there will be no flux will be cut, right? There will be no flux cut. So what will happen? EMF induced will be 0, and here angle is 0, right? Here angle is 0. So here our flux, or the flux cut is, there is no flux cut. So what will happen here? There is no induced EMF. Okay, so here theta is equal to 0 because we have not changed the position, it is vertical. Now in second what will happen? This is our north pole, this is our south pole, and these are the magnetic. So here what I am doing, I am going to change, or there will be some angle created, right? So this angle, that is theta, is equal to 45 degree. I have tilted this to the 45 degree. This is the conductor. We are rotating it in anti-clockwise, right? So here the theta is 45 degree. So the conductor AB moves, so this conductor, this is A and B, moves 45 degree. So the flux are cutting, right? The flux created are, we are cutting that flux. So what will happen? There will be some induced EMF. some EMF will be induced. So how we will calculate the EMF? So we have the formula EMF, that is induced EMF is equal to BLV sine, here theta is 45 degrees. So we will substitute here. So we will get some value, that is induced EMF. Now again, this in third position, this is our north pole, this is our south pole, and these are the magnetic field. So what we are going to do now, this is 45 degree, now we will tilt it to the 90 degree. So 90 degree means it will be like this. This is A and this is B. Now what will happen in this third position? The conductor cuts the flux at angle 90 degree. Here theta is equal to 90. Here theta was 0. We have not tilted. Now here it was 45. Now here it is 90 degree. So just remember, in 90 degree maximum flux are cut. Okay, at 90 degree maximum flux are cut. So that means induced EMF is also, it is at maximum level, right? So here according to formula, EMF is equal to BLV sine 90 degree, which is maximum. Now we will see the fourth. So this is our north, this is our south. Now what will be the fourth? What will be our fourth? Now this is at 90 degree. Now again we have to tilt it by 45 degree, right? So these are the field, and now this is our conductor. So this will be tilted by 45 degree. Okay. So in this position also the theta is less than 90 degree, right? For the 90 degree it is maximum, but here it will be less. So EMF produced will be less. So in fifth, our angle, so here you can see it will go, now here the direction of A and B, B will come upside and A will go downside, right? But it is parallel, so no EMF will be produced here. But now here, as you can see, the direction is changed. Now B has come upwards and A has gone downwards, right? So as you can see, the direction of A and B, now A has come down and B has gone up. So what will happen? EMF will be induced, but it will be in opposite direction. It will change the direction, right? So the process will repeat, but it will be in opposite direction. According to here, we can draw the waveform. Okay, so for V, for this 0, that is first, for the first position our induced EMF is 0, right? Now this EMF is like this. So here you can see, after substituting these values, at the 90 it is maximum. That means this is our angle 0, this is angle 0, this is 45, this is 90, here it is 180, again it will pass through this 180, this is half cycle, and at the another half cycle it will go to the negative part, this is 360 degrees. Okay, so here as you can see, our flux or EMF induced, that means the strength, it is changing. So here it is first in positive cycle and then it goes to the negative cycle. So it changes periodically, the direction and the magnitude changes periodically. So in first it is 0 angle, right? In second we have tilted it by the 45 degree. Now in the 90 degree it is maximum. Again we have tilted it to the less than 90 degree. So EMF induced will be less than 90 degree. So you can see in the waveform, after 90 degree EMF induced again reducing, right? And again in the fifth condition we are, it is parallel, right? So there will be no induced EMF. So at 180 degree it will go again back to the 0, and after that fifth step again it will repeat. So after that fifth step, again first step will go, we will go to first step, but here A is upside and B is downside. Now the positions will change, B will come above and A will go downside. So here EMF will be induced, but the direction will be reversed or it will be opposite. So here you can see in the waveform it is in negative polarity. So this is about the waveform. After that fifth stage, similar way it will tilt to 45 degree, but now here it will be in opposite direction. Why? Because in first A was upside and B was downside, but in the sixth step what will happen? B will become upside and A will become downside. So this is the waveform, it changes the direction. So this is about today's lecture. If you have any doubts, you can ask your doubts.